Hi, everybody. I'm going to be talking about the symbolic interaction theory today, the assumptions, why I love this theory, and how it affects us in our everyday lives. So, in a nutshell, social interaction theory believes that people are motivated to act based on the meanings they assign to people, things, and events. These meanings are created in the language that people use both in communicating with others and in self talk or their own private thought. Language allows people to develop a sense of self and to interact with others in the community. This theory originated from George Herbert Mead, who is on the top of the slide, and then below him we have Herbert Blumer, who was actually one of George Herbert's students, and he coined the term social interactionism. So what this theory does is it takes a small scale view on society and it focuses on that small scale perspective between the interactions of individuals instead of large scale structures such as school systems, the government, a lot of big workplaces. And it does this by looking at the small scale. It explains an individual in society and their actions and interactions with others. Through that, it can explain social order and change. So George Herbert Mead believed that the development of an individual was a social process, as were the meanings people assigned to things, and proposed that people act based on the symbolic meanings that are communicated in a given situation. He also believed that people change based on interactions with objects, events, ideas, and other people, and assign meaning and decide how to act. So, for example, when someone sees a dog, I know personally when I see a dog, I'm like, oh, I just want to go with you. I love you so much. But someone who has an allergy to a dog could think of a hospital. Like when they see the dog, they just think of an EpiPen or a horrible allergic reaction that they're going to have, not a nice little cuddle buddy. Or maybe someone who's been attacked by a dog in the past sees this as they're terrified of dogs because of their past experiences, that it kind of changed their views on dogs and just how they interpret them. So there are three assumptions in the social interaction theory. The first one being that individuals construct meaning through the communication process. So in other words, it takes people to make meaning. The goal of interaction is to create shared meaning between people, and without that meaning, communication can be really, really difficult if people didn't understand what they were saying, if they didn't come to the same conclusions on things. The second one being that self-concept is a motivation for behavior. An example for this could be someone who holds themselves to be a truthful person and is always honest and trying to help other people. And that's how they view themselves and like believe themselves to be, as opposed to someone who thinks it's okay to lie. They're going to live much different lives and behave in much different ways than the honest person. And the third one being that a unique relationship exists between an individual and society. So this is pretty much just saying that everyone's different and no one's going to have the same relationship in society as the next person does. So from those assumptions, Bloomer came to three conclusions about this theory. The first one being that humans act towards others on the basis of meanings that those others have for them. So this assumption explains behavior as a loop between stimuli and the responses people have towards the stimuli. So pretty much when someone sees something, the thoughts that go in their head is their response into what they just saw. Also that people assign meaning to things by applying commonly agreed upon interpretations to the things they see. So for example, I have a picture of, you see a cute little lady in the very first picture on the slide, and behind her is a cherry red Charger. So this is my grandma, and she sent me this picture a while ago. This is a brand new car that she just bought, and she sent it to me, and I thought she was kidding, because you see a cute little old lady and you just don't expect her to buy a fast, speedy, really cool car. And opposed to that, next to that, I have a picture of myself with the car I just bought. And when I first got it, everyone's like, oh, wow, that car fits you. I could see you driving that. And they associated the meaning that the Bug is a happy, cute little car. It's a girly car. So that's what those people meant. But in reality, both of them are just cars. There's really no meaning behind them. A car is a car, and it's just the meaning that people have associated with it. And that brings me to the second conclusion, that meaning is created in interaction between people. So like I said, people created that meaning between those cars because it's a commonly agreed upon stereotype for people that drive those cars. And obviously my grandma didn't really fit that stereotype. But if we didn't have this meaning that we shared, on the bottom of the slide I was sitting in Hall Road, and obviously anyone who's familiar with Hall Road knows it's kind of a cluster right now. And I was just thinking, if we didn't have, you see these signs that we get meaning from, like the H for hospitals, or the little arrows that mean the lanes are going to merge over a little bit, or the construction cones to let us know there's construction going on. Without that shared meaning, the roads would be a mess. If we didn't have traffic lights that we agreed upon, everything would be a mess. And the last conclusion is that meaning is modified through an interpretive process. So what this means is when someone sees something in which they could get meaning from, they have to take a moment and communicate with themselves in order to come up with the meaning that they have for whatever they just saw or heard. So the reason I love this theory so much is because it's so relatable to everyday life, and it's something that kind of goes unnoticed, but it's something that we're using all day, every day, and it's kind of an unconscious thought. But we see something as simple as, say, an Under Armour symbol, and automatically in our brains we're like, wow, it's Under Armour, like, symbol. But we don't take any time to like process what that means, um, and just that we create a shared meaning just from a symbol. Or like I said earlier about the roads, if we didn't have street signs or stoplights and that kind of stuff, what a mess it would be. And also that people interpret things different based on their past experiences is also kind of cool. So like I said, I see my dog and I'm like, wow, I love this dog so much and I just want to cuddle and kiss him. But someone else could see that has a totally different experience and think the complete opposite thing, and they want to get as far away as they can. And that goes for a lot of different things in life. And this goes back to my first paradigm of like an interpretive process, and the way to know, because reality is individually constructed, and it's based on past experiences, and people can view things differently. And I've always liked the concept that people can view things in a different way, and I try to keep that in mind when it comes to dealing with problems, that everyone has a different way of thinking and interpreting things because of their past experiences, and everyone is different. So that's why I love this theory.